getting started right away. Apologies for the late start today, as I am stuck in daylight savings time, 1 hour behind everyone. So, yeah, stay tuned. As we bring on the Aptos monkeys. Okay, so awesome. Thank you. We'll get started right away, and we'll make this one, given that it's Friday, as fun as possible, just given everything that's going on. So, yeah. Thank you for your patience. We'll get started right away. In the meantime, enjoy this Paramore circa early 2000s. Hello. Good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing as well as I can be doing. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. To be honest, I thought we were having the space on Twitter, so I was just waiting for you to accept me there. But let me send an invitation to my to the guys on Discord.
Sounds
Join
great.
us as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we go live on Twitter, Discord. I think we could potentially bring them up on Twitter too. That's easier, but I think the audio is best set up for Discord. It's a whole one man. Well, actually no, one woman, one man show with Nina helping us, everything in the background, and then I'm the somewhat tech and host person. But yeah, similar to Joe Rogan, just a small crew.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna send an announcement quickly to our Discord.
I'll put some tunes back on.
Okay. Oh, how are you doing, Pontem?
Yeah, doing great. It's actually, I think whatever is happening in the world today is probably good. It's some form of self-regulating mechanism, maybe purge of sorts, for just bad technical debt. But I think generally we're all going to come out stronger from this. So I'm actually motivated. I think so. Hard times definitely, as Paramore pointed out in the song earlier. I think just make you stronger, and the teams that are resilient, that are able to continue building throughout this, I think will come out better, more hardened, better prepared for any sort of public catastrophes. So I think this is for the best. Obviously, evolution deems that some will die and others will continue to live, and those that live will, I guess, continue to pass on genes to continue succeeding. So I think that's what's happening here. We're going to see a purge. I think centralized finance is, I'm bearish centralized finance, but bullish DeFi. And yeah, actually excited to be here to continue building through this. But yeah, want to hear your thoughts on it as well and how you're feeling.
I do agree. First, before I give my thoughts, I really want to say that my prayers and my DMs are open to anyone that has been affected by the past few days. It's really been catastrophic for a lot of people. A lot of people lost money. It's not something that it's not a proud moment, definitely in crypto history. It's a day that we'll all remember. It did come with its bunch of lessons. Not your keys, not your crypto. Not all things that are shiny are gold. It did give us a very humbling lesson, and so yeah, my prayers are out there for anyone that's been affected by this, and I do hope that the best outcome for everyone would be attained soon with all the pressures and all the KOLs that are trying to jump in to try and save the drowning ship. In regards to that, it also shows us that trust, transparency is of paramount duty, and that can only be achieved with decentralized finance, and that's why we'll put this on Pontem.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a really good point, and it really is tragic. A lot of people, especially outside of the U.S., that are very going to be very negatively impacted. I mean, $10 billion is a lot of money that is just now, questionably there or not. We'll see how insolvent or solvent, some of these entities are. But yeah, it's definitely tragic. I think we're gonna lose a lot of consumer trust. I think people generally, but I hope it's not misdirected. I hope people don't, understand the nuances between some of these entities, centralized points of failure, and the actual true ethos and meaning of why we're here. But yeah, definitely, if you were affected, we're all here for you. This is why being part of a community is really important. Make sure we're supporting each other through this. I think the best things we can do now is learn. This trope of not your keys, not your crypto has been around forever and should be around forever now. But I feel like we all got a little bit comfortable, just given the amount of trust that we gave into these institutions. I'm not. I personally am affected into this too as well. So. It's interesting, luckily, I guess in the U.S. those withdrawals and deposits are still going on, which is also like an interesting thing of how it can be segmented in that way. But a lot of people, a lot of institutions, a lot of people outside of the U.S. are going to be definitely impacted, and I really hope that all that negative sentiment for this impact is not misdirected. Hopefully, people see the importance of these centralized finance institutions being able to be huge points of failure, and that we move on to more decentralized approaches. Now with Aptos, high throughput use cases like this should be possible for relatively low fees. I think for a long period of time, a lot of these use cases weren't possible, like a decentralized exchange that can manage millions of people's requests at a time that previously wasn't possible. But now with scalability and throughput of Aptos, of layer 2s on Ethereum, we're slowly getting there. So I think the technology will inevitably get there, and I hope folks realize that this is the reason we're here, to enable peer-to-peer finance, decentralized finance, and getting rid of these intermediaries that are bad actors rehypothecating and using fractional reserve banking to essentially make profits, which is not sustainable. But yeah, I think we'll hopefully come out of this better in the other side.
I do agree, and it's been some crazy hours. I have a lot of friends who got funds stuck at FTX, and these are funds that taken months, if not years, to build up, and just out of nowhere. Most probably gone, but yeah, I think what you said is very important, where we need to redirect anger into something productive to create solutions or to create a path forward that minimizes this kind of risks or black swan events, like they call it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's just a pattern in crypto. So there's been several big exchange blowups. The most memorable one is Mt. Gox. And to be honest, I don't even think this one is as bad as that one, because back then it was almost like 20-30% of crypto was in that one exchange. So, the ecosystem has generally seen these. The most surprising part is just how relatively entrenched this institution was in the ecosystem, and then all the support that was behind it. Like, this wasn't, like Mt. Gox was questionably a hack, maybe a scam, but this was like, just a credit over leveraged credit risk that was not managed well, and that literally happens in traditional finance all the time. Like, it almost imploded the entire world economy in 2008. And we do have some stopgaps in place now to prevent something like that, but this is like a fairly common occurrence. And I think people maybe got a little bit too comfortable, and the solutions are getting there. And I think the hardest part is just going to be people to trust themselves, because at the end of the day, that's all you have, and that's part of the ethos here. And custodying your own private keys. So there should definitely be some trusted third-party institutions for other use cases, but I think that's the powerful part here, that you are back in control of your own financial freedom. And like, freedom isn't just having enough, because as we can see, even having enough, if the counterparty where you're holding it or supposed to be keeping them safe takes on undue risk, then everything that you work for is not yours anymore. That's not financial freedom. True financial freedom is owning and having access to your own private keys, which, as we're learning, and a few folks through a hard lesson, is the way to move forward. So we the market recovered from Mt. Gox. The market, I believe, will recover from this, and it's only going to make us better, and I think potentially catapult us into DeFi a lot faster. So I'm bullish, I think.
Oh, I do agree in regards to getting over these. I mean, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Or we've had bad days before. Mt. Gox back then was like it was crazy for everyone. We still pulled through. We still gathered ourselves. We still pushed through. And a few weeks, months, this event will also be the same, where we gather ourselves. We dust ourselves from the fall. We say we're gonna do this again, and we go forward. And yeah.
Yeah, I think the crazy part is, so Bitcoin itself wasn't too much relatively affected, and that's not to say that there probably won't be some contagion. And I think a lot of institutions were likely counterparty to FTX and Alameda. So it'll be interesting to see it. But interestingly enough, I mean, this is obviously continue dropping, but as it is dropping right now as I'm looking at it. But Bitcoin itself, I think, Bitcoin itself will hopefully be resilient. Yeah, it's interesting because it went from 15,000 or 16,000, bounced back up to like 18, and now it's at 16,700. So if you're on YouTube, we're watching the Bitcoin price live. But we can go back to Mt. Gox. Oh, sorry.
Regarding Bitcoin and the price, and please, I'm no conspiracy theorist, but the timing was impeccable. Like, we had this crisis 2 days before one of the best CPI prints for the year.
Oh, interesting.
And it was impeccable.
Interesting, yeah. Oh man, and that led to the market just collapsing a significant amount and then bouncing right back when it did. Yeah, huh.
No, I mean, if there was no FTX incident, And with the CPI data that came out yesterday, we saw how the stocks flew, and BTC would have maybe flew to 25, 26, 27K. But then, it is what it is.
That's true. But I think so. All this bad debt getting removed from the market, I think, is good. I think what we're also learning is the macroeconomics of supply and demand for something that's finite supply. Like there's only 19 million bitcoins, and they can be rehypothecated on centralized entities or potentially in decentralized entities, but there's it can be rehypothecated, but that's at a huge risk because you can't mint more of them. You can't, unlike the U.S. dollar, which if the U.S. were to put into to tie back to the CPI numbers, minting more in whatever way the U.S. government and other governments do is a way to bootstrap economic activity in times of crises or liquidity crises. This stemmed out of the 1929 Great Depression where, we were not tied to fiat, but we were gold backed, and everybody that had gold just hoarded it. That meant that, a lot of unemployment due to these liquidity crises. So there's benefits to, minting coins at any point in time you want to help, quote unquote, boost the economy. It comes at a downfall. And now we're seeing that, potentially mint, so you can't really mint. I guess you can mint coins that's probably what's happening. You can mint coins that you use as collateral to borrow Bitcoin, but then those things itself, there's only a finite amount of Bitcoin left, which most things are paired to Bitcoin, so most people are probably valuing things in Bitcoin and crypto. So somewhat hard lesson learned, but don't rehypothecate Bitcoin on decentralized entities because you'll get wrecked.
I totally agree. 100%.
Yeah, but on this point of conspiracy theories, so definitely okay. So I don't know if you've seen some of our past shows, but we try to keep this relatively light, and maybe we pivot away for a moment here about crypto and dig a little bit more into conspiracy theories. I think conspiracy theories are totally plausible. In hindsight, like a lot of the things that happen, within the U.S. government that are now coming to light, will eventually, in the moment, we'll be like, okay, that was obviously something we all thought about at that point in time. Even like things around, the World War II era and the 1960s, somewhat atrocities that were done, definitely come to light in the net present. I think one interesting one that I've been hearing about is humans in our own existence, and have we actually only been here for 4,000 years, or is there potentially more evidence of human ingenuity and human civilization beyond that? And a lot of folks agree that even like 4,000 years ago, the Egyptians are somewhat Egyptians and Sumerians were somewhat the beginnings of civilization, but now we're learning that we had these really, really complex structures even 12,000 years ago, and we still don't really fully understand how that. So it's kind of crazy that we still don't know our own beginnings, and if there was something terrible to happen to us, we got rid of the internet, all of our history that wasn't written in stone, like would we be able to pick back up and continue building? Somewhat hot take, but there could potentially be a conspiracy to subdue the quote unquote civilizations that existed beyond us. But not to detract too much, but if you're if you're curious about that topic, kind of curious to hear your thoughts.
It's interesting because the things that you see in history where with the background info that you have in which on how evolution had gone and the things that you see in history, there's some sort of divergence, I would say, especially if you see, okay, this is one of the popular ones. I mean, they had a group of architects and construction engineers, tell them to do the pyramids again, and they're gonna have a very hard time. But then thousands of years ago, we were able to create one of the most perfect triangles on
Yep.
a huge monument in Egypt, for example, and then you ask yourself, what happened here? Oh, what's the story? What's the secret? So yeah, I'm on the same page with you.
Yeah, the crazy part is that we still don't even know. That we have some theories, but it's something like millions of stones that each one is like 2 to, if not like 10, 20 tons. The fact that we were able to put that all together within just a few years is insane. It doesn't even like logically make sense. It does make sense that potentially it took a lot longer to build. Some of the evidence that it is 4,000 years old is carbon dating of structures around. So it's almost impossible. You can't really carbon date the stones itself for the pyramids, but you can carbon date, for example, scaffolding or decorations that they put on it, and that just means that those were the last ones. But an interesting one also that a lot of folks don't talk about is some of the rain and wind erosion that exists on, for example, the Sphinx. That is not easily explained within their, the Egypt area being a more desert region, in the last 4,000 years. But if you go back 10, 20,000 years ago, it was, I believe, it looked more like an Amazon rainforest, which would explain a lot of this rain and wind erosion on these statues, which are somewhat unexplainable now. So, and it maybe potentially the theory is that for over a longer period of time, humans were a pretty sophisticated civilization that was able to build these like really complex structures out of stone, which lasts hopefully a lifetime. And the Egyptians just somewhat painted over or put their own structures over these structures that had been there for possibly another 10,000 years. So, I mean, obviously maybe not the craziest one, but it feels like one of those that it's completely plausible. Same as like aliens, for example. Like, in hindsight, if we look back in time, something as controversial as the Earth being not being the center of the universe was eventually, once we developed enough technology to prove to ourselves to prove these things. Same with evolution and other scientific theories. It is perfectly plausible that we're starting to discover, for example, other beings that exist in the universe, and that maybe our own history or past is something that we can't yet fathom how to explain. So obviously, completely unfounded tinfoil hat theories, but potentially there are ancient aliens that boosted or set up civilization.
In regards to that, something that will be very interesting to the audience is anyone who likes to kind of read these kind of things should go to Ezekiel. It's in the Bible, and I forgot what chapter or verse it was. He was describing an alien object that came down from the skies.
Yep.
And he was describing it like it had a sound of running water. It had very strong lights, and with today's information about the world, the only thing they're gonna think is it's gonna be a spaceship. There's nothing else that was describing there apart from a spaceship.
Yeah, exactly. And if we think about it, that's I mean, not that long ago, relatively speaking. So I do like the idea of looking at religion and the Bible as like a historical text, because for a long period of time before we figured out how to write stuff down, we were just verbally passing on these stories, and stories of floods, stories of flying objects, celestial objects are definitely something that we should be taking relatively seriously. And yeah, it is interesting, and let's say hypothetically speaking that all these objects that we're seeing, and that the U.S. government, including the Pentagon, including the Navy, including NASA, is now studying of these quote unquote unidentified objects. Like, what if those have always been there? Like, what if there really is something that we haven't really seen yet, or that has always been there, but we can't, process or see in our eyes, in our third eye? So one example of this is there's accounts of the Native Americans in America, so all across the coast, even South America, when the Europeans first came, that even though the ships were set off right outside of the land, and you could like technically see them, nobody saw them because they had no conception of what a ship was. So there was just an object that appeared, but it's almost like the object itself was blending in because you have no other frame of reference or context to it. And it was only until someone stared at it long and hard enough to like make out a quote unquote object that they could describe to other people, that then they could describe it to each other, and then they all started seeing it even though it was there the entire time. So what if that is the case now, and maybe, you know, clouds or some other things that are somewhat there all the time that now we're starting to see and that are moving, you know, in ways we can't physically, or our own current understanding of physics can't describe. But like those could have been there forever, and we're now just starting to see them, and they're starting to see us, or maybe letting themselves be seen. But I think it's totally plausible, and I'm not one to rule that out, that, you know, there potentially be aliens that seeded civilization.
That's some mindfuck stuff. I mean, imagine thunder was like the lift in which aliens used to go up and forth. I mean, that would be so fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. Okay, so the other thing is, what if aliens are not these like strange otherworldly beings, but what if it's us in a way teleporting through time, which I think is totally also plausible. Like if we were, and time itself can also be relative, so it doesn't have to be physical time. It could be time as in a computer. So like theoretically speaking, if all of this is a simulation and you're just playing a video, you can go back in quote unquote time and then drop, you know, new objects if you're the creator of that thing. So it's totally plausible that is definitely potentially the case. But you know, maybe somewhat of a transition. I don't know if hard, but you know, the monkeys, you know, has somewhat become of a trope in crypto. And you know, kind of curious to hear your thoughts on, you know, why you picked this, why you think it's a trope also, and you know, should we be evolving beyond monkeys into these like alien beings, and then, you know, how do we marry it all to bring everyone along?
Reject humanity and return to monkey. That's what they say, huh?
I think so. Maybe monkeys are more evolved in their ability to like live with nature. So maybe we should go back to that so we don't destroy nature.
Yeah. I've had the thing for monkeys since when I was a kid. My first pet was a monkey. And back when I was a kid, I was in parts of West Africa for a while. And things weren't good back then. And you can say I was a guy from the streets, picking up mangoes from trees and what have you. And what you see is this monkey saw that this guy has some troubles. And he used to kind of pickpocket people, just try and bring stuff to me. And that was very hilarious. But then as a pet, I kind of lost him because he went out to the wild one day and he got eaten by a dog, which was very sad.
Oh,
but
wow.
then yeah, since when I was a kid, I always loved monkeys.
Oh, sorry, you broke up.
Yeah, sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, so yeah, I've had a thing for monkeys since I was a kid. I mean, the way there's a lot of familiarity, or you know, if you want to follow the evolution books, they were our predecessors, we would say. So yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy story. So the monkey connection to you goes even deeper than crypto. This is something that's like ingrained in your own background and history. That's incredible.
I love monkeys. It was the first ever pet I had before a dog or a cat.
What? So you had a pet monkey?
Yeah, I had a pet monkey when I was a kid.
Oh wow, awesome. Where is that legal? Where are you allowed to have a pet monkey?
Oh, in West Africa, I lived there for a while.
Oh wow. Okay, what kind of monkey was it?
I don't know the exact name, but it was very small and cute with a very long tail.
Was it like a capuchin?
Okay.
Capuchin monkey, maybe?
Maybe, but it wasn't a baboon, definitely. It wasn't the big one. It was this small, cute ones that just jumped from one place to the other, and I did lose it because he kind of went out to the wild and never came back. Most probably maybe got bit by a dog or something. But I didn't buy it from a pet store or something because in the place where I lived, monkeys roam freely, and we struck up an interesting relationship and that monkey.
Wow, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
now you're bringing it full circle and bringing that monkey to life in the metaverse. That's kind of cool. So maybe tell us a little bit more of you have a really interesting background compared to a lot of the other folks that we see building here. So yeah, we'd love to hear more about your story and how you got full circle from that real life or IRL monkey pet to Aptos monkeys today. Well, the most popular probably by a lot of metrics NFT project on Aptos. So definitely want to hear that story. I'm sure a lot of folks here in the audience as well.
Sure. After that, definitely it was high school, university. I studied computer science, university. It was really cool, but it never resonated with me in regards to me always coding things out. I used to spend countless hours, and I found myself more on the business development, ideas guy, entrepreneur side of things. Always want to try things out. Back when I was 16, with a good friend of mine, we coded out a forex bot. It was the craze back in the days when MT4, MT5 bots were being spread on the market. We tried to code one of our bots to trade gold, and it did good for a while. Then after a while, it just crashed, and that was one of the first huge losses I had as someone that was way below 18 years old. After that, I did spend some time in sports trading. I used to do arbitrage trades across
Oh, nice.
platforms. Yeah, more of what of Sam used to do in crypto, where he used to arbitrage across marketplaces and what have you. And I think in our midst, we also have a lot of arbitrage traders here. It's one way to have an edge over the market. I did that for a while, but then with sports trading, the liquidity isn't always there to support the large ticket sizes, and then you start getting problems with bookmakers because you're basically taking money off their exchanges. So I was blocked from
Oh wow.
most sites. Yeah, I got what's it called limited, more of like I can bet more than a few cents or bucks.
Another
So
another argument for the centralized exchanges of I mean in this instance, yeah.
yeah, I mean, as and that's a very good argument, and taking the sports book model into the decentralized model works both for the customer and works for the bookmaker because if there is an arbitrage or if there is a mistake with your codes or if there's a mistake in your pricing, the market or the retail are going to teach you a lesson and going to bring it back to normal. So the balance is already within the market. So you don't need to do any kind of market control or what have you. The market tells you that your pricing is wrong. Get it fixed because people are going to use it. You get what I mean? That's a very good reason to go decentralization. People help you with like making your system work. Number one, or if it doesn't work, then the market can clearly show you that look, this model you have, you need to fix it, and it needs to be fixed immediately.
Yeah, it'll get arbitraged. Oh yeah, sorry,
Sorry,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say I was agreeing with you. It'll get arbitraged into what it's actually supposed to be worth. If it's if
100%,
yeah
100%, exactly. A second thing is proof of funds. I mean, we're all depositing into these bookmakers. We don't know what's happening. We don't know where the money's going. We don't even know if they're loaning it back to Sam to
yeah.
trade crypto with our sports fund. But then yeah, having it decentralized, it's one click of a button. You see the funds, and you can go to bed early.
Yeah, 100%. And that's an issue that I think is recursive across all of finance. So even if you look at Robinhood and the situation that happened with the meme stocks like GameStop and AMC, they halted, they did halt trading in one direction. That's pretty crazy. And, if that was also a liquidity crisis that happened in a very large established institution. And they were quote unquote bailed out by their backers, I believe that they were able to raise emergency funds for it, but These issues are recursive. They're probably happening way more frequently because we only see the worst of it. We only see it when it explodes or implodes. But they're probably very, very frequent, and we now have the tools to stop that bad behavior, right? And it may not even be bad behavior. Like, it might just be a function of how outdated the systems are. Let's not assume any bad intentions on Robinhood, but maybe there was just way too much trading than could be settled, and therefore but that's a function of the systems being in place that allow that time lag for inconsistencies in the spreadsheets. But if it was all on a central database, which would be impossible because then there's a lot of possible corruption or central points of failure. This is why we need a decentralized database. Then you could instantly settle all these assets, financial primitives, and you wouldn't have these types of issues across any form of financial thing, like sports bets or stocks or crypto. I'm really bullish for this technology to really upend the way that finance and most applications exist. So I think generally all of these blowups are probably more common than we think, and we're just moving towards a new normal where the technology and the world is evolving, through natural selection into the best possible solution. So, but yeah, totally agree with you there that it's really, really cool to see some of these solutions coming up in a decentralized way.
100%, and but every market has a way to fix itself. Evolution has a way to make things better with the time, and at the end of the day, it's what the market wants that's gonna happen, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Transition a little bit. We want to give the community a voice here as well. So we have a lot of questions that came up through our AMA. I'll go through those in a bit. But also there's a few folks that want to come up and speak, potentially give them some room and bring them up and answer some of their questions as well. I know Tech Guy, you've been helpful in the past, so I'll let you up the mushroom rocket ship into the world. But yeah, come up and ask your questions or contribute in any way you want. I'll let a few more other folks on and have them ask questions. I'll also pull up the questions from the community. Okay, these folks come up. Let's just go through some of the questions that came out of the AMA. One of these questions is, what utilities will Aptos monkeys have in the future? If you can share with us some of your roadmap. I know you already have one product like the Raffler, but yeah, let us know about some of the utilities that you're planning in the future.
Sounds good. What we want to do is kind of bold, and the vision is for our NFTs to be a social identity, for it to represent people out there on their socials, whether it's on Discord, Twitter, to have a brand out there. And the main goal is for you to, through our NFTs, be able to meet like-minded people like Pontem and other builders and Aptos, connect with them, come up with unique ideas, nurture this upcoming or emerging community to create cool stuff for the next bull market and for the betterment of the ecosystem. That's one of the main goals out there. It's not through creating tools or through creating holder rewards or airdropping stuff. What we want is people who are like-minded, people who want to build out this ecosystem in a positive and scalable way, bring out ideas, and us empowering them. In parallel to that, we also want to create definitely tools that we think are needed in the ecosystem, whether it's fun and games like raffles or alert systems for NFT trading, or maybe DAO tools for voting. We also have things that we also want to work with through our collaborations or partners And these ideas come through an ad hoc moment where two brains are brainstorming and they come up with a very unique idea. We would want to be there at the forefront of that, be able to give in the necessary resources or items or funds needed to make that a reality. And I think Pontem can attest to that we are open to idea discussions. We're open to be helping with stuff that are happening on Aptos. In the future also, which is very soon, we're also getting in a tokenomics expert to kind of bring in some sort of holder or gaming rewards to our community that also work in a way with our tools.
Nice. Yeah, and it's pretty cool that y'all as an NFT project are building real community tools. So if you're on YouTube, I have the Raffler pulled up. Maybe you can share with us a little bit more. And it looks like this is actually a really good deal. In the next 30 minutes, there's only six people so far that have put into this raffle for an Aptos monkey, which is definitely worth more than, like, the expected value of this right now is pretty high. So I might go into one of these raffles. Interesting. Yeah, because you only put in 1 APT and you have a 1 in 6 chance of winning an Aptos monkey with a 15 APT floor price. So yeah. Maybe.
True, but then close to the closing time, you might have an attack on that raffle. So do be careful.
That's true. Yeah, right before. Has that been happening?
Yeah, it has been happening. The thing is, the website or the tool got a lot of traction. And we found some scalable issues in regards to speed, server-side stuff, and we stopped the creation of raffles. These raffles have been ongoing for the past few days, while the new creation of raffles have been stopped. So the system is just processing old raffles, but you able to create a new raffle will not be possible before Monday, while we push out more stuff like filters, like collection size, to be able to have more information while they're doing their raffles. Also a tab for users to know what raffles they got involved with. So yeah, more updates on that by Monday, hopefully.
Oh, awesome. Cool. Yeah, some of these growing pains, definitely, I mean, relatively good though, because you're getting a lot of traction on these. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, we can think through some ways to also prevent some of these like game theory attacks of everybody purchasing the lottery ticket at the last second. I mean, maybe they're just not wanting to give away that they're participating, but that one doesn't make a lot of sense, but I guess maybe. But interesting, cool. Yeah, and part of this question, going back to it, is the utilities are also built by the community. So dropping a little bit of alpha here that we're working together, and this goes to the next question, which is, what does our partnership look like? Is including utility in a decentralized way, in a permissionless way for other products, including those built by Pontem, such as Liquidswap. So we're also working on a farming capability, which is going to be completely public and permissionless as well. So folks can set up their own custom pools, and we're looking at ways to integrate NFT utility for specific collections, such as the Aptos monkeys. So this utility, if you build a strong community, folks will want to build with it. And yeah, we're excited to use this native primitive, which is almost like a community building block. Each of these people are passionate followers. It's an identity for folks, and you can build on top of it. Utility, games, the world is really somewhat infinite. What you can do here. So excited about this native primitive, the community that y'all have been putting together, and the fact that you guys are also builders. So excited to build even more features and use cases with stuff like this as we continue to work together.
100%. I do see our partnership being very crucial. I'm someone whose values or ethos stands by collaboration and collective growth. You don't live on an island alone, and if history has taught us anything, you can't just do stuff alone. You need other people, you need other like-minded people, builders, thought leaders, and it's only through interaction, through going into the circle of builders where ideas are being thrown out and drawn on pen and paper, and it's only through those activities that you come up with something unique and beneficial for people.
Yeah, definitely. And that plus actually like real people just going heads down and building stuff, which is recursive and also potentially easier now with Move than it was on other ecosystems like Solana with Rust or even Solidity on Ethereum. So given that we now have a lot of frameworks to start off, I'm really excited about all the cool products that will be built on Aptos that we're already starting to see being built. But it'll take time, and there'll be bugs throughout the process. And so far, seeing the activity of builders is really encouraging to see this year, and seeing how strong the NFT community has also been, and how connected and I would say like maybe competitive in a positive way, but I'm really seeing a lot of DeFi projects, NFT projects really communicating with each other and helping each other out. So I think that's also going to be a strong benefit of the Aptos community, just how close and open we all are to help build each other up. So I think that's going to be a key benefit also that's going to make everything here stronger.
I totally agree. The vibe is something I have not seen anywhere else. I'm someone who has been into research and trading and what have you crypto since 2017. I've had my fair share of losses, my fair share of wins. I've seen communities being built out in the early days of Ethereum or in the early days of Bitcoin, and how euphoric people become at the top of the price action, and how hope is lost at the bottoms of markets. All these are things that I've experienced with people. But this is what I'll say, and this is not me throwing bullshit out. It's me saying something that I've noticed. The community being built out on Aptos, whether it's through Pontem, Martian, Rise, Topaz, Souffl3, the NFT projects like us, Bears, Mingos, and the rest. The collective spirit or the way we want to always try and collab together is not something that I saw in the early days of ETH or in the early days of Sol in regards to NFT projects or even DeFi projects. They're always heads on with each other, and they thought that competition is through isolation, and I do not believe in that. That's not something I believe in. I believe that even that in an early stage like Aptos, competitors need to be able to sit on the same table and plan things, because we're the pace setters as of now till new people are onboarded into the space.
Yeah, exactly. And it's that composability that comes out of us putting our brains together, even if it's competitors, maybe thinking about it as like co-opetition, that we can be collaborators and competitors at the same time to help build and make the user experience better for everyone. So I would definitely echo that sentiment that it's rare to see, especially in crypto, which can be very cutthroat, to see this type of collaboration going on and reaching out across the aisle of different projects that may be competitive, but maybe if working together, new innovations can come out of collaboration. So it's definitely very exciting to see, and encouraging, and to your point, the vibes are very good, and it's a reflection of us. It's a reflection of the people that are here building, like yourself, like ourselves, like some of the other folks you mentioned. We are all relatively good, principled, good valued people. So that'll be reflective in the products that we build. That'll be reflective in the communities that follow us and that we are building. And I think that's going to allow us to thrive in this new world that we're going into.
I totally agree, and I cannot be more excited. We're in the midst of one of the, I don't know if it's the worst bear market, I won't say it's the worst, but we're in the midst of very hard times, and we're still out there pushing it through, pushing stuff, working together, and trying to create positive vibes. If we're able to do this in the midst of a bear market, only God knows what we'll be able to do in a fledgling bull market where the vibes is immaculate to everyone.
Yeah, exactly. The people that build throughout these hard conditions come out stronger, bringing it back full circle to how we started. I also think that there's probably a filter of quality Whereas the people that are here now are here for the principles, they're here for the ethos. They're here because they want to see this technology thrive and get adopted because they understand the inherent dangers in centralized finance, including in crypto. Like we're seeing these centralized finance institutions blowing up. So I think you see a higher quality of people building, a higher quality of people in the communities, and when the next bull market or cycle inevitably comes, this is going to be the culture set. It's going to be a culture of respect. It's going to be a culture of sustainability, and then from our learnings of past cycles, hopefully it won't be another culture of exuberance, of high risk taking. That brings us together, and I think generally these cycle and trends are good. It's almost like evolution, just natural selection for good and what thrives. And I'm excited to see what comes out of the other side of this, and continue building with you, continue building with a lot of the other folks here on Aptos. So really excited to have you here, and excited to be building together.
Pleasure is all mine, Pontem. I'm really looking forward to the stuff that we're going to build out. What is it, short of 3 weeks old in regards to us being mainnet. Less than a month. Things they're building are looking very good. Things are going the way it's meant to go. We're very, very early, and I can't wait to look back in a few months and see how things have grown through our lens.
Yeah, that's a really good point. It's still so early, and so much is already available to be used, and so much that we know is coming down the pipeline. So really exciting times. It's good to. I know a lot of folks are definitely affected in terms of having funds stuck on FTX. Would definitely recommend, if you still have anything in centralized entities, to pull them out. We don't know what the contagion is going to be. We're already starting to see companies like BlockFi, Voyager that were dependent also halt withdrawals. So definitely, if you have anything in centralized institutions, go and get them off and put them in your own keys. Public service announcement. I think generally, people are going to come out stronger after this, and people are going to be here for the long term and continue building. And the cool part is that this doesn't really affect other than loss of funds potentially. This doesn't affect the technology. The technology is continuing to work. Really excited to continue building it. And now with Aptos, high throughput use cases are going to be possible. Like for example, potentially being able to have the order flow of an FTX on chain. I think that's completely possible on Aptos. So excited to see it happen and build it out ourselves.
Yeah, I think Econia is doing very interesting stuff in regards to order books. It's really cool to see that how as much as we are early, teams like Econia, teams like you guys have already cemented yourselves and created working solutions for people to use.
Yeah, exactly. There is an alternative today that's possible. If you want to get access to APT with other coins like USDC, Bitcoin, Wrapped ETH, that's all possible today in a decentralized way, where you get to own your own private keys in a trustless manner. Not having to trust a centralized institution like an exchange. That's all possible today, and we're making it even more accessible for folks. So it's exciting to be here.
Same here, brother.
Cool. So I know we're coming up on time. We'd love to bring you up. We have a really good turnout for this. Over 80 people live now on Discord, I believe on Twitter as well. We have over 87 folks. So this was definitely one of our most successful ones, even throughout all the turbulence. There's still a large engaged audience, as you can see. So definitely would love to continue.
Since
go ahead.
Since this is a good one, I'd definitely love to give out an Aptos monkey. So it will be up to you, whoever you choose from the crowd. Let them DM me or DM you. I'll drop them a monkey, let them join our community, and check out the vibes there.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, that was really good. Nina, take note. Maybe we can choose the best question asked. I think the utilities of Aptos monkeys, number 2, the one we went over, definitely deserves it. So we'll coordinate there, and congratulations to the person. Thank you for dropping that in there. Awesome. And yeah, we'll do way more of these. So I think it's really good to bring together and talk about. We'll come back really soon and share some of the news and products that we're working on together, and how folks can use Aptos monkeys in the Pontem ecosystem. So excited for that upcoming. We'll have another discussion when that is live, and yeah, share with folks all the progress and innovation that we're driving here.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to telling the community.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you all for listening in, and we'll see you again soon.